right, folks, Nick Talker here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Sorry about that delay. It seems like the Nick field is really just spazzing up, short-circuiting everything around me. And Lord in heaven, is it a pain. But fought the good fight, rotated the wheels, found out which one was flat, and got us rolling again. Hi, folks. We're less than 2 weeks from Halloween. 2020. We're less than 2 weeks from Christmas, folks. And I got a lot on the plate, so we're going to just get steamrolling into it. The Historical Fencing Guild's weekly live stream is back. Brought to you by The Simple Sword by Nicholas Stockard. The easiest way to learn how to stab your friends safely. Available through Amazon at www.amazon.com/author/Nicholas Stockard, along with the Big Stompy Robots line, whoop, and a whole bunch of other goodies. The Historical Fencing Guild is also brought to you by my wonderful patrons, like the delightful Cindy Kep, who's actually in the chats right now. Hi, Cindy. Sorry about the delay. The effervescent and always the Fez of Power himself, Mr. Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide Publishing, who you should look up because he's probably my favorite independent publisher. That's saying a lot considering how many I know. And, of course, as always, Steve Agosto. We also receive some support from Steve Clausen of, I can't tell you yet, his project name is still classified. Good things are coming. And John Miner. And John Miner of Swakhammer Metals, who sent me this. This, my friends. And we're just going to get right into it. I know I have news, I have deals, and that's all well and good. But, friends, we got to get this party rolling. One sec. Caffeine is back on the menu, boys. This is what John sent me. Now, people who are subscribed got to see the video of me actually unboxing this. People who are patrons actually got to see it first. But John noticed that I was using a parry dagger like this to explain the function of a boar spear. Doing the best I could with what we had. But he decided I needed this beauty. Now, this is scaled perfectly to me. You see, oh, howdy. Let me get the angles on this. Now, John has a gift for craftsmanship. He just sometimes needs to clean up his welds. So it's a long-standing joke between us. And so I will be taking this, doing a bit of detailing. But this is a boar spear. You have this lovely leaf-bladed spear point, which would be double-edged, stout point. I may have to round that off a little bit for safety as practice. If we actually get to practice with this, it's a little flippy. But we'll see, and if not, I will shamelessly steal this design and talk about, maybe getting him to make something a little more mass-produced, because seeing how he did this, there's some good ideas. But it has the fins. Now, in these, in dealing with Cindy Kep's How to Fight Griffins discussions and dealing with most of your supernatural human stuff, a boar spear up to twice this long would be a wonderful thing. Somewhere around 7 or 8.5 feet is a really good length. But John knows I favor short spear and I favor pole arm. And what he made is something that is scaled perfectly to me. As soon as my hands are up to it, I was down for almost a week due to the effects of the nerve testing. Apparently, if you shove electrified needles into my arms, my hands don't work for a week. But as I get news, I'll let you know. But we don't have time to worry about that. We have a spear. But that being said, as soon as I can, I'll go out. Am I feeling better now? I know parts of what's going on. I'll be upgrading my armor in that I will be wearing 2 rather bulky, when I find the right one, wrist braces. And I'll be using a crutch instead of my cane for some time, because carpal tunnel and supporting your weight on a cane does not mix. But I am doing better. Thank you, Cindy. Like I said, I'm waiting to hear back on some of the test results. I could dread that, or I could just steamroll till it's time. So this baby is about 5'6" long. There's just enough room. I'm gonna put a foot on it. So what you're seeing is this is very much a before. I'm going to do a little bit of work on it because, and this is, folks, this is how I knew I married. One of those signs you married the right woman. She saw this, and her first thought was, "Nick, you're gonna hang it up in the living room, right?" Yep. My wife sees boar spear and thinks, quick release latch, in the living room because it's a thing of beauty. So that tells you how much we tend to love our pole arms around here. The neat thing is John made this to be modular. Now I'm gonna play with yes, and he made it to be modular because he knows I have to sit during my show, so I can function with the very short part of the spear, which actually I could use to no small effect if I needed to, and not be destroying my ceiling fan trying to get angles. So this is a really great weapon. It gives you this also features the offset wings, or this is basically the stop so that the spear can't over penetrate, and so that the boar can't run up the spear and gore you to death while you're putting the poke on it. Wonderful, wonderful little weapon. I love this. I'm hoping with a bit of discussion on materials that I could get Swakhammer metals to possibly make more for the HEMA fans among us, because I'm always looking for more quality WMA, Western Martial Art weapons. Although, boy, Wing Chun Long Pole in this just sing. I'm a bit of a fan of Chinese spear techniques, but I detest the wobbly hilts. Oh, so what you're going to see is I'll probably do a little bit of cleaning on this, because the edges have just could use a hammer, and I'm going to well, I'm not sure. I'm tempted to secure it a little bit more because I really want to be able to fight with this thing, but in the middle it's a little vulnerable, and I'd rather risk securing it not breaking. So I have to make that decision. It will also get a foot on the end. One, because as John knows, given his training and that, my wife's tendencies, got to have the equivalent of a butt spike. Love butt spikes, folks. So this is a really nice, because it basically is a dagger on a big old long stick, and it is a beautiful, devastating weapon. Like I said, I'll probably do a little bit where I'm just playing with it, seeing if I can get stretched out. I just have to wait for like the freezing fog stuff to not be a thing, because right now the temperature's being a little hinky, and I have to see what's coming down the pipe. So, big reviews on that. John, I am eternally grateful, and this is just a great thing. This shows you what you can do with reasonably simple parts. He has a joint. Now, like I said, I have some suggestions I'll probably be making to him if he wants to make more of these, because I think people would be interested. If you are interested, he usually comments on here, and if he is, look him up. Swakhammer Metals doesn't quite have a website that I know of yet, but those who know me, especially in Rising Tide, never mind the Furthermore circles, which is a program hosted by Brian K. Morris that I tend to stalk Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I have a ping. Yes, Steve. Yes, they do. It's all you. John, I love this thing. I absolutely adore this thing. And John Miner visit with us, and I'm going. Like I said, I'm going to tinker it. I'll probably give another polish. I might stain it. I might engrave it, depending on the shakiness of my hands. Simply because Mandy wants to put it up, so I'm going to like quadruple the sexiness value. I don't think any mojo was applied to it. If it was, well, we'll see. But so, guys, more boar spear talk videos probably later. I can't. If a sword is a sidearm, okay, a sword is a sidearm. It is like a pistol. This is much more like your rifle. This is a get stuff done kind of tool. Great in line combat because not only can you do all the speary stuff, But anybody who's listened to me talk about Axis knows I love having a little thing where I can nudge a shield around, I can nudge weapons around, basically run an aggressive defense. Yes, an aggressive defense. This is a defensive weapon. But the lines in spear fighting mimic the lines in rapier fighting, so it works really well. I can't underappreciate, and great swords get a lot of publicity, and I do love a good great sword. I do love a hand and a half and all these things, and swords of indeterminate fatherage. But this has got to be one. Not only is this historically and academically one of my favorite weapons, but this is one of my favorite trainers of all time. I am incredibly grateful. And it hurt not to show this, but I promise when I get goodies, the patrons get to see it first because they give so much to keep us floating. And I mean, my budget is limited, and I will say that, but I am eternally grateful because I'd have no budget at all without you guys. So thank you. We may get back more into this, but I have actually a lot to discuss today. So we're just going to put this somewhere it won't kill me for now, which is really hard because my work area is basically awash in weaponry. What? Okay. Stop the presses. John Miner just said the SCA just allowed spear on the light list. Holy... One second. I need to get a pillow of screaming over here so I can swear prodigiously when I'm that excited. Holy cow, folks. So the SCA is letting spear on the light list. Yes. God, don't make me miss that much, John. Dang it. You guys don't understand. Combining two of my sexiest favorite things in the universe. And fencing. Oh, God. Spear with that with a nice parry dagger kind of back up. Oh, heavens to Murgatoid. Okay. I am a controlled Zen YouTube professional. I've been doing this for 39 weeks live. Oh, my God. Okay. John mentioned SCA, so I have another weapon before we get to industry news that I want to show you. And that's probably because I'm going to be changing out the blade. This, let me check the tip, is my Elven Thin Blade. And it was made around Christmas time, so it has Christmas elements. I would love to say I shaped this into this lovely configuration, but I did not. This is actually a Christmas holly candle holder that my wife did not know why I was buying it, and I got no small amount of trouble for destroying to make this lovely crossguard. But hand groove shaped to my personal specifications. French grip, very nice. Solid brass knob. The tip on this is light as the foam. This is one of my favorite weapons of all time. I made it so that I would have a length of steel I could wear that would both make certain martials twitch because I was vindictive in my youth, and I could wear this on a rig and go places with live steel not allowed that just fits the bill. It is an older foil blade and is well nearing the point of retirement because broken foil blades do scare me a bit. I will admit that. So one of my new blades may just get bumped over to this thing of beauty. I wanted to, especially Cindy kept to see this, to have an idea of what can be done with simple acquisitions. And this was actually, I drilled it. I tapped it out at 6x1 metric to thread on the standard, measured it out, This is probably one of my prouder creations, simply because it's both beautiful and whimsical, and it just ah. It represents a period in my life where I was kind. Oh, it's supposed to be scary. You see, this is meant to be a very fey weapon. That's why I call it my thank you. Uh my elven thin blade. And unlike most people, I have not fallen for fey propaganda. Fey are beautiful and terrifying. So this is beautiful and terrifying. No, I could never fight with this against anyone. It would be totally unsafe. But that's part of the spirit of defiance of this particular little sparring sword, a little foil. Yeah, well, John, you're not human. We've accepted that you're like part uh square foot or something like that. I'm you know, but yes, I know, John. I know. Very carefully, very early in my youth, we played, but I wouldn't. This is a different situation. Wow, I just got sent message redacted from Steve Clausen. I don't know if YouTube did that. I certainly did it, but there's something about my friends and redaction that comes very naturally. I miss you, Perkins, if you're watching this. Uh, but Durian is a great guy, and I'll have to tell him I mentioned him briefly. But this is probably. Oh, okay, good, you did it. We tested it. This is probably one of my favorite. Oh, don't worry, nobody takes me serious anyway. And the balance, is literally when I say I got it right. It is just inside the inner leaves, so I'd have to reach in to get the point. I've done it with a string before. This, friends, is what a small sword should feel like. Feather light, devastatingly fast. If I were to, put a lifesteal blade and enchant something to be a quick rapier, a quick small sword, actually, this would be it. So, no, don't worry. Uh, but yes, with Christmas coming up, I like to bring this beautiful little piece out. Now, I could make this, and I probably could tell you guys how. You just would need a probably brass kick plate, and then you trace out and dish out these two shapes. It's not undoable, but yeah, just a little bit of history, a little bit of holiday flair of the elves of a different tradition. So I gave you guys a double dose of new swordage, new weapons, at least to you. If there is a type of weapon you haven't seen you want discussed, hit me up in the comments. Join the Historical Fencing Guild public group. I do insist that you are an English speaker, simply because that does limit the bots, and I do check to make sure that there is a history. But sorry, I had to find something because I was asked for a bit of what I call OTR, off-topic rampancy. And in that, it's about something totally not fencing, but kind of Western martial arts. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video. I don't want to stammer too much, but boy, do I've got some news. So I have been hitting up. No, John, don't start, because then Steve's going to start speaking in other languages, and I'll get Steph on here, and she'll speak yet other languages, and y'all will have a conversation I miss. So none of that sprechen Sie anything. Oh, I have some metal filigree discs. I was might do something, but I need to rig my current foil first. Yes, CityCap acquired a foil that's slightly damaged in shipping. But we're working on helping her do some rigging. I wanted to show her with this, like what I consider the peak of my personal current home rigged weapons, in that this is just so delightfully inappropriate. I will let you guys talk because I do not speaking. I recognize that looks like German, and it looks like it's talking about a dog, but I could be entirely wrong. Anyway, so I've been people on the Pro Guild know, the public group know, I am really excited about some things coming out of one of my favorite retailers, Purple Heart Armory. I did homework for this video, folks. Yes, that's right, homework. But Purple Heart Armory's Pro Gauntlet, it's a 5-finger gauntlet, made of mostly high-impact plastics, articulated. Guys, this thing, and I'm going to let you guys go in a foreign language. To the YouTube dudes who do, I don't know what they're saying, and I can't be held accountable for it, so that is what it is. If you guys know what you're saying, y'all have fun. I love you guys. But the Pro Gauntlet, which came out and is way beyond my price range, is coming out in a smaller size now. PHA and another supplier are really starting to build up their gearing more towards female fighters. Now, as you know, that is a massive passion of mine. I want to encourage everyone who wants to fight to be able to fight, and to be able to fight with safety and with actual fitted gear. It is a different art form, armoring female fighters. So I'm really, really excited about that. They let's see what else is coming in. Now, they do have their new cup hilt rapier in stock. It looks like it would be SCA legal, but it looks like it's also running about $250 as a price range. So it's a little stiff. I saw that if they fit, they'd be more useful for rose tending gloves than I used before. I added a cuff to cover my forearm. I've been looking at the gloves. Whoa, haha! And everything goes crashing down because I'm in a good mood. Wow, okay. We can keep that going as well. Anyway, I'm a pro, folks. Please ignore the red light. That's just the alien search craft trying to find me. No, there are some really neat gloves out there. In the kendo area, there's crap, which is a common ailment around me. I have a statistically anomalous effect on entropy. Meaning, if it can break, it will break around me. If it can fall down, it probably will fall down. And less likely things sometimes become more likely. It's a little weird, but you get used to it. It has to do with being liminal. John Miner says, armor for females is hard due to the weight, but the actual ligature of the female body is different than the male body. Oh, God, especially here is like the hips, the wrists, the shoulders. It may shock, but part of the reason that heterosexual men are so attracted to the way females of a biological nature tend to walk is that they have tendons in different places and musculature set up in different places. God, the armored rose is still. Oh yeah, the curvature of the forearm is definitely part of it, but the articulation of the wrist is a big one. The one, if I find one thing that I have found in my studies that most affects fighters, now I need something that will show it. So give me a second. Okay. John gave me it. No, no, John didn't give me this. Steve gave me this, I think. Anyway, no, John gave me a different set of eye. This. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is a male grip. Okay. A male fist is a very square entity. All the tendons in the classic male hand lock like this. The female fist looks like this. I am like part of 1% of 1% who have a male fist on one side and a female fist on the other. Whether this is due to injury or genetics, I don't know. But if you watch me fight, long-standing thing, I tend to be a more saber fighter left-handed and a more epee or rapierist right-handed, because this is the way I couldn't even close my fists for a week. So, this is the way things work, and I'm trying there. Years of fix that fist, lock it up. Do you see the difference? What does that translate to? Well, it translates to held naturally, this is at a 90-degree angle. Okay? This very concussive, very held naturally, this is at that 45-degree angle. Both wrists tip inward for you. So when you close, they do that. Now, it is about 5% overlap. 5% of women have a male fist. 5% of men have a female fist. These are pieces taken from Tony Blackrose, I think is her name, wrote The Armored Rose, which is the reason I haven't tried to write a manual on solely based on female fighting, because frankly, there's a good enough one out there. I'm not going to try to replace it. John says, Amanda was a challenge as my student to get armor correctly and to keep her from doing what I did during practice. Punching weapons handles is not something. No. You also have wrist damage, and that could affect it. That's why I said no, we're not real sure, because I got heavily into Western martial arts after I broke my right wrist. So this could be from the off-road skateboarding injury. John, I don't think she's up to the impact your style of armor really would go for. But that's why I'm going, guys, armoring has really, it's funny, the sword tax is still there, heavily in trainers, which is part of what I was talking about. But that being, hey, it's a sword, we can charge more and people will pay for it. This is why, at the end of the day, very often I like Purple Heart over their main competitor, at least in my observation, South Coast / Black Fencer. They do synthetics, and after dealing with steel, dealing with rattan, even in the basics. Now, I have the fancier synthetics. I just don't have one up here. Actually, I think it's a South Coast. That was a gift. But these guys have the least maintenance requirements. And sorry. I really like them. They're simple and they're unthreatening. I cannot stress how important what we do should look unthreatening. I talk about safety, and we live in an era of extreme tension between the police and between protesters, perceived protesters, rioters. So we don't want to be mistaken. And I have had all manner of miscommunications occur where people thought what we were doing was something entirely different than what we do. And what we do is use Western martial arts to build each other up. And I made a Rosetta Stone for cross organizational communication, because I thought, okay, I wanted to check that. I'll talk about what I'm doing later. Oh, we have a message. Who is messaging me? It is 8:42. Okay, I'll get back to that later. That has nothing to do with this and everything to do with people asking me. All right, I might be slow to respond. I have to turn that down because there's going to be a whole bunch of pings on my live stream. But with John shared the new SCA rapier guides, at least from Mill Kingdom, which we are geographically a part of. I am still very much expatriated, but I think you could get an idea. Now, if John, we could decide that on a future date. Excellent. That's what we want to see, because that's what we're about, getting people together. Now, on the topic, let me see. Getting back, they do have the rapier. The basic trainer rapier is still advertised. It is not, however, got a picture, and I've asked Christian about it, and they added that it is indeed a plastic, which means it will be construction-wise much like one of these. It will be, I assume, because he's using basic trainer. When he talks about basic trainers, when Purple Heart, it is this rigid HDPE, UHDPE, very rigid material, not thrusty. So it will be interesting to see how that translates to a rapier. They do translate well to sabers, and there is something I'm about to butcher, absolutely butcher, a weapon and a style. Dab Song Mue, trainer for Karabi Krabong. And again, I mean no cultural disrespect. I have a severe speech impediment, and I grew up in the Midwest. So occasionally wrapping what's left of my ability to speak around non-English words gets a little challenging. But they have this trainer, and what it is it very much mirrors the Nagamaki I fell in love with during my times hanging out with Sword Sage, which I would be hooked up, but there were some thefts to deal with. It's quite tragic. And it's running 30. Also, some of you guys are a little more modern Western, and I found out that the M7 bayonet dagger trainer is down to $11.99. So that might be a good stocking stuffer for the people you love. They do have that just shy of $55 synthetic sparring charge, which, let me get the non-colored one, is essentially this, but about that far out. Now, I said 20 inches, but I'm having trouble if it's 20-inch diameter or if it's 20-inch, radius. I'll really have to look into it. But it looks like it's about a 20-inch diameter, so about that far bigger. $50 is a lot to ask for that, but I'd like to see if anybody sees them come out, just to see if they're worth acquiring, because this is still, if you want a synthetic buckler, there's nothing better, and this runs about $25 on Amazon. This is the Ed Wood buckler. No, this is Cold Steel, I believe. Yep. Our buddies at Cold Steel. Great rigid trainer, and part of my current trio of favorite low-cost sparring tools. Sorry, the tarp got moved around a little bit, so we're working on that. Whew. Only a half hour, guys. Am I running that hot today? It feels like I'm just kind of flying along. But we want to talk about that. They also, Purple Heart had a couple other things that were really cool, in that their hammerhead and spear trainers are both 30 or sub 30. So those are really nice if you want to get in and you can get your own poles. Now, I was asked about the South Coast swords, and I looked into it. Of the swords that were asked, the small sword, the short sword version of the cup hilt, and the basket hilt dusset, which is beautiful, are pretty much out of stock, which is tragic. As Steve Clausen says, ooh, I'm not sure what he's saying ooh about, but I'm sure it's sexy if I'm talking about it tonight. And I have something special for you, Steve, about for off-topic rampancy this week. And I'm going to be bringing that back as a segment. We seem to really like it. Guess I know what to get myself for Christmas. They've started mass producing cat dennings. Anyway, I could get in trouble for that remark. I should be professional. I'm talking like we're an hour into the show because I'm about 15 minutes late, and I modulate my caffeine and blood sugar levels to be at peak nickness during this whole little broadcast. But why is that hung up? Oh, that's fine. It's not too bad. You're not going to see anything that will get me in trouble with YouTube. Just because, Steve, stick around tonight because I've got something really special in plans. Now, I want to talk about a company, and John, I'd love for you to put your ear to the ground in SCA circles. I'm trying to track down always low-cost gear. Now, last year before, a company called Destroyer Mods made an armored hoodie. It looked like a hoodie. It moved like a hoodie. But John, I'm going to caveat. John just said he'll make Swakhammer Metals will attempt to make custom trainers if I can get good descriptions of what is wanted. We will talk, John, because I've got a couple things I would, the Holy Grail is sitting right here. Let me get through this. So don't let me lose track too far. The company is Superior Fencing. It's supfen.com. And they're selling jackets at half price, but they also used to sell the Destroyer Mods hoodie, which was a hoodie with placards for padding built in, custom arm guard plates, really snazzy stuff at a reasonable price. The problem is they went out so fast, they couldn't keep them in stock and realized that people were buying these for light sparring instead of spending much more to buy fancier ones. This was a tragedy. I miss them. But they're doing a new armored hoodie that's rated at 350 newtons, basically looks like a double-breasted fencing jacket with a hood. So I'm depending on how funds flow and we endure the holiday season. You're talking to a man who still hasn't seen his tax returns. Thank you. You know who did it. But I'm going to be looking into that. They have some really neat packages where you can just buy a full set of beautiful gear for the couple $100 range, which is not bad. It's starting to get as close to the cost of piecemealing anything of quality from like Play-It-Again Sports and getting things like lacrosse glove and umpire knees and a few other dirty tricks I've done acquiring gear for people to do what we do, at least at backyard levels. So it might be worth looking into, especially for crossover training when you're going from like rapier to synthetic. I don't think I'd use any of it for rattan per se, but full speed rattan really, in my mind, takes substantial armoring. And for that, I'd have to clean out my I know it's moldy right now. My Lorica, my heavy leather and brass Lorica would really have to get cleaned out, upgraded, and retrofitted for my chunky monkey self. But I may be big enough to fit it right now. That's not necessarily a good thing. Yes, John could definitely make you trainers out of live steel, or John can make riggings out of riggings for fencing blades out of live steel, because one of these days, aside from a slightly more practical version, this beautiful thing, which John actually gave me, will this beautiful thing will be in some kind of fighting blade. Either I'm going to have to try to make a rigging around a synthetic blade, or make a traditional rigging and run a fencing blade. But I really do prefer something Schlager rapier blade grade just for safety. But that's that 20-incher is probably my favorite sword ever, and I'd love a brace of those. I would love to dual wield those guys. Just a bit longer than the double dagger. Could be a lot of fun. But I'm holding off on any purchases until after I get some medical news. Because if I'm switching over to shopping simply for training others and limited protection or new protection for myself, aside from the rather expensive collection, if I wore every brace that I think I'm supposed to wear, I would be basically wearing an exosuit. And the fact that either I can't get a cybernetic upgrade or just a quality exosuit really cheeses me sometimes. Because, where's Tony Stark when you really need him? But, or Mantis? Yeah, I'm going to reference a 90s black superhero that I'm sure very few people really even have any memory of. But, yeah, I'm going obscure with that. So, I have been prattling, guys. I've been hitting it hard. So, yeah, John, what I would like to see you do is, if possible, you're already on the St. Nick's Creators Christmas Mall, which, guys, I'm just going to keep up. I had thought about making a temporary group, but we're seeing some neat things. Cindy Kep is doing some beautiful things. And again, as soon as I get disposable income post-holidays, I'll probably be commissioning some nifty stuff from her. Because she does amiguri, I think I said that right, the really cool crocheted animals. And I would love to see my old mascot as one. Plus, not many of you know I do collect gargoyles, amongst other things. I currently have, of gargoyles of size, if we count Dudulu, who has lost his coffee shop scepter of power. I'll have to get one of those. I got 5 over there. I think I got 6 over there. Yeah, heavy armor is substantial and stiff. And Cindy Kep is an elf. She is a slender elf. So armoring her would be possibly challenging in the almost Anne Crone but more supported class. She was somebody we both knew. Just to give you a rough body estimate. But yeah, I would love an opportunity to have more sparring with people like Cindy Kep. I am still saying, if you're willing to modify the riggings, guys, and you want a cheap blade fast, the Wucha, put out by Blades USA, Tai Chi sword will give you, which I'll be honest, I've been meaning to fix the bottom of this for months, and I just haven't had reason to get epoxy to mix it up. But the blade, the sword that this is based on is 20 some odd bucks. It's flexible. It really is about the perfect synthetic small sword blade. And it weighs ounces. It is slightly heavier. Let me check. It is really close to the weight of my foil. I forget that you're 5'4". You are a tiny little thing, aren't you? Wow. I'm about 3 of you right now. Oh, John can armor anyone, and somebody. So, for some reason, I had you in a much taller mental class. I think it's because you have so much personality. But yes, great. Cindy Kemp is one of my favorite people on the planet. That's certainly one of the best I've met on YouTube. I forgot to breathe for a second. Would it shock you guys to John Miner said lightweight and flexible. I'm assuming he means the armor. It could mean Cindy. I gotta be good because this is my show, and a certain level. This is not, HFG After Dark. But yeah, wow. You guys almost actually managed to shut me up. That is a prize. That's beautiful. But yeah, there are a lot of ways to armor, folks. And if you're going off the rack, basically what I do is I scour the internet looking for the best trainers I could find to bring to you, the best gear, the best suppliers. While usually it says paid promotion, and I may have to fix that. I may have goofed up the post. It's a new thing I'm trying to do right. Nothing influences my opinion. I'll review something, and if it's given to me, I'll review it. I reviewed this. I have 2 versions. I have this. I have one with a pommel that's on the end. I'm not overly fond of the pommel. I told Christian, and I tell people, I prefer the classic, and this is still one of my favorite weapons. If they put a actual cup to slide down, so a bell to give slightly better hand protection, or heaven help me, something like that, like the guard on my Bilbo, the sword that I love. Okay. Something like this where I could get my hands nicely protected under it. That's hot and panting thinking right there. That's just, don't look at me like that. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at Lydia, my office assistant, who Kydex, absolutely. Well, it depends. Flexibility and Lamellar? Lamellar, John, for a tiny thing like her, might be good. I also have to acquire the right kind of armor plating, and it has to be very impact origin for our good friend Steph Marie, who may or may not be joining us, but she will need aggressive because she has one of these that she affectionately calls Mr. Happy. God, this is a solution looking for problems. It hits my I love the fur trader era just a little bit. I'm a very 1800s minded fella, and this is just such a nice leather and aluminum. Yeah. Well, I'm torn because the Kydex and the plastics get a little funny in the daylight. Too much UV exposure. But boy, being able to hose your armor off is a nice thing. Leather can be a bit burdensome in its maintenance. Now, a couple companies are using Kevlar, and my problem with Kevlar is it doesn't stop sharp things well, in that it'll stop a blunt bullet once, but a needle or a broken blade can go through a little easier, and it breaks down unevenly. It's a little hard to track whether the armor's breaking down or not. Ballistic nylon is great, but it doesn't breathe and will try to kill you, as my old armor, the Widowmaker, or the Black Trash Bag of Doom, can affectionately state. Although my yellow sailcloth one is pretty, Yeah, hey, Steve, you remember Lydia. Lydia's great. She hangs around, she works security and keeps small children and wives and house guests out of my study when I don't want people over. Uh, she isn't staying in her office very much anymore. I have her in a slightly more tactically and advantageous position. But yeah, maybe one of these days I'll reveal to the folks who don't know what Lydia looks like because she's just a darling. But we're about 10 minutes from the hour, and I got a question that was off topic. The question was, Nick, do you do any like shooty shoot things? And if you do, what's your favorite thing? In this case, they were discussing airsoft. Now, I do occasionally dabble in the soft air shooting stuff. I have not gone to any formal matches, but I enjoy assorted forms of marksmanship. And I have a few airsoft guns that I've acquired over the years. Some for aesthetics, some because I just like them, and some actually to just sit and plink, because it's fun. So I was asked my favorite airsoft gun, and I'm like, well, while I have fancier ones, I do have this. This is my favorite airsoft gun. Now, to make YouTube happy, so there's no confusion, I'm pulling out. This is a tubular magazine, very much like a lever action rifle. It is obviously empty. You actually put the pellets, the BBs, 6mm down here. And from the, just to angle, I am not actually looking down the barrel of anything because I'm not that stupid. This is a barrel guard. This weapon is now functionally unloaded and incapable of doing anything other than clunking menacingly. But it is roughly the size of a Bond Arms style Derringer and roughly between a 22 to a 38, just a neat little holdout piece. And small gremlins. I do love small gremlins. Before everything started, I had heard about a Wild West themed airsoft event I really quite wanted to attend, and I was thinking about it. The funny thing is, this actually holds 6. So this silly little thing is technically a 6-shooter. And, the accuracy is what you would expect out of a Springer this small. The sights are what you would expect out of a Springer this small. Let me give you the sight picture. What I have to pull the hammer down to even see the sights. There aren't. This is a short range, silly little guy. But danged if I don't love it. And many a snowy afternoon is spent plinking cans in the basement with this because that has about the impact. So to answer my friend's question, this is probably my favorite little airsoft gun. I have fancier ones. Steve has given me a couple beautiful, but I'm a sucker for this. So I'm going to put that down. So that's the off-topic rampancy. We're going to get back, but we're getting close to the hour break, and I tend to forget. So right now, to remind you guys, the Historical Fencing Guild is brought to you first and foremost by my beautiful patrons, that being folks like Steve Augusta, Augusto, sorry, speech impediment, guys. Cindy Kep and Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide. Cindy Kep does maintain a website, www.coepp.com, that sells assorted wares, and she's quite the wonder when it comes with crocheted little stuffed critters and dolls and awesomeness and little other stuffies. Really neat stuff, so look her up. I'm also, Brian K. Morris runs Rising Tide Publishing. He's a tour de force and should be recognized. I also want to thank Steve Clausen, who you got to give me a name to work with because people are asking me what you do. And I'm like, stuff. and a John Miner of Swakhammer medals. You may have noticed the minor swoon on my half because while I was talking, John said, "I'm thinking Lamlar I created out of steel with the pauldrons, but only Kydex and adjusted." That is brilliant, John. And guys, chat, sort this out. You guys are good. 67 caliber tower flintlock, Nick's favorite lead thrower. Oh my gosh, do I love that little hand cannon. By little, it's almost the size of me, but I do love it. It is a thing of beauty. Now, mind you, Fog of War is what it creates post Fireball, but one aims with the force of your aggression. Those things are delightful. It's basically taking something roughly along these lines and going, "I have at you, good sir." And I'd be lying if I said anything other than how much I absolutely adore that hand cannon of his. I'm an old guy. I like I like old guns. I like lever actions. I like God, a mare's leg is one of the most beautiful carbines ever made. Oh, Kydex. Kydex is a type of impact plastic very similar to a slightly denser version of like blue barrel plastic. That's not exactly, Kydex is actually a lot like this material, but I think that it's a little stiffer than this. I'm not sure what kind of plastic John used for this really cool I love this thing. This spearhead. But he also, when he shaped it, he made it look like it was an obsidian. So, I mean, like dragon glass as a thing, because he does know me too well. And while I am not a Game of Thrones like viewer, I am a fan of, if you give me a mythology that's popular, I want to know how to kill it. But yes, so really neat stuff. There have been times in my life where I would have done great harm for about 2 or 3 4x8 sheets of it, and then run off like this into the darkness. It could happen. Yes, John. And Steve, so normal sized. Yes. Ah! But I also would like to keep this. It's running $40, but I do like the handguard, and it gives me hope that they can make a the right small sword that that would be sturdy and light and semi-forgiving. This is a little tough. This is a Blades USA Cutlass, but Steve gave this to me, and I just love it. And it's sitting here. I really had no reason to bring that out and fondle it, other than I really quite love it, and it pairs oddly well with my kukri. But all right, let's talk some more. I am really having this problem, and my current problem is that I am watching. Oh, one year I got to be a pyro at a Texas reenactment was over. One of the gents gave me an opportunity to fire a blank from his musket. Those are awesome. If you're in Northwest Indiana, and they still do it, there is a little Ren Fair held at the end of August in Elkhart, I believe. I can't quite remember the place. My wife would know. But one of the groups they bring out is a performing crew of pirates. And since it's on an island in the middle of the river, which is really cool, the pirate ship they bring in has these brass cannons, and they let them off, and it does my black heart good. A wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, well, the nice thing about a very heavy weapon is that it absorbs a lot of the recoil. And I have no problem with the idea of a shooting stick or a bipod for the right long-barreled solution looking for problems. It's historically fascinating. I find firearms and like archery interesting. I actually found a really great video. I don't remember if I shared it on the historical fencing guild group or if I was watching. I think I was watching it on my TV, so I couldn't share it. But there's a guy who shows how they made the simplest medieval crossbow. Really, really neat. Oh god, I love HDP. A quarter-inch sheet. That's just beautiful. My problem is that I'm looking at that. Are you quarter-inch is probably going to be very close to blade thickness, although I think this is half-inch. This might be 3/8. And now, Jim made some prettier things. I'm not sure. I'll have to find a measure to be absolutely sure, because this is about a centimeter and some change. But now the HDP used in cutting boards is significantly softer, but at the time it was the cheapest way I could acquire it. And I really wanted to make this goofy little sword. And I'm rather fond of this goofy little sword, don't get me wrong. But for prototyping, these are great. But with the plastics, you gotta be careful about heat. You know, you have to lay them very flat, especially if you leave them in a car when you go somewhere, because they can take a bend. And we could talk about that on maintenance, but compared to finding out somebody's kid wrapped their hands around your rapier blade and it rusted through, that's pretty forgiving. I do want to remind folks, whatever you have, something is better than nothing. And if you're going to get into this, don't wait till spring. I'm trying to slowly build back up. I showed you guys the little hanging target. It lives in the transition between my bathroom, my living room, and my dining room right now. And I regularly just do point control, boop, 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 either with the ball or disengage around to hit the targets. I'm to the point where I spend most of my time poking the ball around with a foil, which is saying something, because getting a square hit with a tip that big is a little tricky. But don't be afraid to start. It sounds crazy, with your finger. Just poke that hanging tennis ball, the target I was talking about, and use that to build up your point control. The only way to get good point control is repetition, slow, controlled, long-term repetition. Then you can use it as a tool to parry, pop off it, and go. Contact to parry, pop off it, and go. Disengage around, pop off it, and go. Ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies. But yeah, I'm not going to apologize for that pun. I thought I was, but no, we're hitting the end of 2020. And folks, I'm not apologizing for stuff. Unless it's like actually apology worthy. Other announcements, second channel announcements. Post the holidays, I am working on some projects once I get through previewing, which I could show you. This stack of papers with 8-point font is actually the simplified version of the Hybrids RPG. I am blurring it to make it harder for you guys to read beforehand. Blade of the Borspear. That's what I thought. Seems a little soft. So yeah, I think the weapons I've been running are 1/2 inch. Yeah. So I've been using 1/2 inch HDP for weapons, And quarter inch normally works really good for armoring or rigs. Although, one second, I'll do this without dropping every weapon in the world. This is 1/8 of an inch HDP that I got at Menards, and that makes good guards or light plate panel without spending a lot of money. I do have to fix that. You've been saying that for months, Nick. I know. And John, don't feel bad. It's the same design as your thing. It's a wood screw. But my problem is my wife loves this, and it's beautiful. So this is probably, I'm going to do some videos with it. I'll probably stain it, snazzy it, and it may spend more time on the wall. So I may have to acquire a second one with probably a slightly more aggressive thickness of plastic for the blade, slightly rounder tip. Because I keep looking at this and I don't want to goof up the blade geometry. It's just too... No, it's too sexy. Wow. I just referenced the how you say, yes, show. God, I'm on a roll for the obscure this night. Let me check my messages because I had to turn the pings off because I was catching other priorities. Oh, okay. No problem. No problem with that issue. Somebody had to leave. That's fine. So, John, what would you like to see more people have access to before they come into like a group? Because John's a rapier marshal, he's a heavy marshal, he's an archery marshal. Are you a thrown weapons marshal too? I'm because I learned most of I will say most, I will say many of my more shady things from either nights with John Miner out in backyards and behind places, or with people who are while John Miner was there. There's a period of life where we spent a lot of time around each other getting into every kind of mischief. But I'd like to know. Maybe we could set up a interview show one of these days. I'm not as tech savvy as I should be for that, but I'm not signing the 21. Really? Because I had heard rumblings for some time that the SCA was going to try to include an ARMA-like exclusivity clause. For those who don't know, I can't remember what ARMA stands for. I know it's Renaissance Martial Arts, but I can't remember if it's Alliance or Association or whatever. Reticent, but it's a group. They're responsible for a 3/16 HDP for rigging and forming hot. You know what? Before I get into any of this, John, I would love to see you do some dishing of HDP and experiments if you can, because getting a good cup guard is nearly impossible. That's all synthetic right now. If you could get on top of, get ahead of that, that'd be solving a problem, making some real snazzy potential stuff. Because I'm still holding out for a really nice synthetic cup hilt that's scaled to me, either in full Bilbao or just classic cup hilt, but synthetic. So tell me how that goes. I know I was planning to just try to form some over a bowl in a toaster oven, but like I said, let me know how your attempts go. But while we're back to the thing, ARMA, it's a great organization. It's very historical. They have done more for translating and resurrecting old manuals than a lot of places. But to join them, there's an exclusivity clause where I will not teach anyone outside of ARMA what I learned inside of ARMA. And I can't do that. because I want to be able to, whenever I'm talking and somebody who's a LARPy, I don't mean that derogatory. I love LARPy guys. You guys are fun. But, buffer guys, whatever. If they want to learn and play and pick things up for me, I'm going to share that information. It's what I'm doing. I thought you'd been a throne marshal. I'm going to tell you, probably this summer, when whenever the vaccine is prodigious, prolific, propagated. Anyway, woo, aphasia's kicking in. But whenever that's available, I really want to do a day where I get everybody I can, and we make arrangements, and people just come out and have a good time. I mean, stupid levels of good. I want to rebuild my list field out back, assuming I'm, physically able to, and if not, we'll figure something else out. But we got to find it's almost going to be a convention at this rate, where we can all get together and swap what we do, and then maybe do a bunch of interviews and stuff, because I want to keep the digital guild, the folks like you guys, the folks like Cindy Cat, Steve, because he's in Texas, he's in both. The folks who message me. I want to get all of you guys accessible. Alliance, because it's the HEMA Alliance too. And there's some certification processes, which I'm glad to see starting to pop up in organizations. Because realistically, anybody can come in saying they know anything. If you want to know what I'm saying and what I believe, it's all right here. I'll put my money where my mouth is, so to speak, or I'll put my mouth where your money is. But I wouldn't have put that. You travel, yes. You do certainly travel. So does John. You two run in eerily similar circles. But I want to bring folks together and establish, the situation to get stuff how it should be. I was asked recently about merchandising. So to answer the question, got it again, about merchandising, I am working on a plan. No, I will not be pursuing right now outside merchandisers. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's that there is a plan in place and a time for that. So just hold your horses. I know it's a good idea to sell merchandise. I know it's a good idea to wear merchandise. And one day I will be on here with a few, I will start wearing shirts that are relative to what we do. Oh, I am so sorry, John. I got confused. The contract he was referring to, the year 2021, not for a group. I didn't like the 2020 forced contract. All right, folks. This can get real. I can say without a doubt, without hesitance of deception, lie, or anything else, 2020 kind of sucked. People are dead. Political, social, economic, environmental. There's so much uphill discussions on literal aliens and extraterrestrial technology. Well, non-terrestrial. So unless it's extra-dimensional, it's extraterrestrial. If we didn't build it, somebody else did. Tech. Unless it's us from the past, whatever. Nobody cared because of 2020. That's how insane 2020 has been. If we don't change how we act, 2021 will be no different. Let me say that again. If we don't change as a people, as individuals, how we approach things in 2021, it will just be a continuation of 2020. And furthermore, there are problems going on, real and political and whatever, that will keep going for a while into 2021. We are in a hole. As John's wife would say, put down the shovel, pick up a ladder, and get on with that. John Meyer says we could a video online meeting with all the guild. We could. So a staggering number of guild members are incredibly camera shy, which has made it difficult for some people to, in the past, record and study their own progress. But we could definitely, there's several formats we could use to record a online get together. We may do that. Now, I do want to remind you that I am not planning to have. Let me just bring up my calendar. Okay. The 18th, there will be a live stream. I am not planning a live stream for the 25th, which is Christmas night, for religious reasons. That being that if I do a live stream on Christmas night, my wife will kill me and I will get to meet God in person. Ditto for January the 1st. Now, I did set out to do this, and I'd say I do this every Friday for while this quarantine is going on. And I'm not expecting to hop on. It depends on how much not doing that grates on my nerves. But I love you guys, and I don't want to start 2021 dead, at least from that. So, anyway, Steve responded, that would put faces and voices to the group. I agree. And we might find the more internet-friendly versions of us likely to. I'm working on nudging a couple others, but really, you have to understand, what I do online is sometimes radically different oh, you guys, to my mission with this in person. Right now, I'm trying to be a dim light in the the stingy darkness that is 2020 and beyond, because we can't meet. Build each other up, teach things. In person, it's literally hands-on, it's training. Usually the energy level dips a bit while I'm in professional safety mode here. We're going to parry like this. Let's work with this and build people, blah, 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 blah. It's not as tele-friendly. But, and a lot of people I work with come from issues. So I don't blame them for not wanting to come live. Some of them I may, because it may also help plug some of their business efforts, which a guild is supposed to financially sort of support each other in one format or another. Most guilds historically collected dues, and then that money went to providing resources. It just makes sense, and maintaining connections. Now, most of the people I work with have extremely limited financial resources, so I'm incredibly thankful for the folks who do and give, so that I can buy trainers and gear and equipment to arm the folks who can't. I'm not getting rich on this. I will never likely get rich on this, and that's okay. Wealth is not a driving force in my personality. Now, Cindy kept saying, I'm totally understanding. Fam time, you are more interesting alive. Thank you for not condoning my death, Cindy. It's a rare and beautiful thing, as so many in the past have tried. To support my death, but not condone, condoning the end of Nick has been attempted many times. And as part of runs through my mind most mornings, I see the assassins have failed. Steve says secure encrypted sessions are absolutely a possibility. So, I don't like at the end of the year to start sudden things right before the end of the year. So we may talk about plotting some kind of service where we can all actually talk in person instead of it being me blabbing and responding to people a la Nevermind. Furthermore, it would be a little bit more clever title pending or Stupid O'Clock, another show I like. That's run by a guy named Joe McKeel. Really neat folks down in Tennessee. But so we may try to do some of that in 2021. I will also be featuring I'm plotting some really cool, if you appreciate B grade cheese. And as somebody wearing this Hawaiian shirt, I love me some B grade cheese. Sci-fi fun on my other channel. When that happens, I will announce it here to not, just because we need more fun. We need more light. And as we transition out of this pit, we got to build ourselves up, let ourselves heal. Since when is Nick not interesting? Strange, but interesting. I appreciate that. I realize I am a sedate, sometimes dull figure, calmly, methodically exposing and speaking of facts and figures in a monotone that makes everyone ASMR sleep, whether they want to or not. I've never been the type to know. It's just about being calm, just breathing in, breathing out, and then making my wife fall asleep on the couch because it's funny. But no, here, guys, I am a pink flamingo in the snowstorm of life, okay? Mandy says he's not allowed. Mandy says that to me quite frequently. That's called being married. I accept it. After 18 years, I accept it. 20 together. One and done is my approach to marriage and most things in life. I'll do it extremely well. I won't need to do it again. That's where that was. I've been looking for that. You don't get to know what that is. Not that it's anything particular. It's just I like to be cryptic once in a while. Let's see. We got some commentary from Glenn. And what? Oh, yeah. Kitty Lasombra's Shadows in the Attic plugged her some stuff on the Christmas Mall. And what's neat is they make fantasy and fashion armor out of pop tabs. They essentially make a guy named Dead Mike makes pop tab like Lorica chainmail hybrid stuff. It's really pretty, believe it or not. Somebody drinks a lot of energy drinks to get the different colors of pop tabs. So those are a lot. They're a lot of fun. And hop on the St. Nick's Saint in parentheses Nick's creators Christmas Mall. See some of that, and like I said, and see Cindy Kep's really cool plushies. Well, they're the Amaguri guys. I love stuff like that. You see, I am talented in a great many arts, but string-based arts and I tend to get. You see, a string is a condensed form of entropy. If you think about it, how prone a string is to tangle. And then you have me. Oh, she found a manatee pattern. For those of you who don't know, I have an alter ego, the mighty manatee man, master of marketing, who appears on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, rising up through the rising tide to plug people's wares, and occasionally this channel. So it makes sense that his flippers flap your way here too. But I was organized. I had plans. I was too little along. I just feel my brain just kind of train wrecking and rolling end over end. But that is so cool, Cindy. I'll show you guys some stuff. I might bring up my old mascot. I did a version of my old mascot not too long ago. I might bring up next week if you guys like. So, as we fall through the portal and end up in the yes, John is referencing the fact that I am a fairly habitual DM, not direct message, although Lord knows if you're friends with me, you will get random non-sequitur. I thought this was funny. Ping. No warning, no time scale, no expectations of a rapid response. I just go, this might make you laugh, whip it out there and go about my day. But, wow, that sounded terrible. Dang it, Steve. But I am a DM, and I do love through the portal campaigns where, you know, we're waiting somewhere, and I just go, so, what do you guys have in your pockets? And then I hand you a character sheet based on your actual stats as I've observed them, and we go right down the line. I might even run a game if somebody were really interested in that sort of thing. So we'll figure that out, because if I want us to be braced, logically, another major lockdown should be coming. I understand economics, I understand politics, and that's all valid and important and totally irrelevant. So I want to plan ways to make it easier on us. Part of it is everybody should be working a side hustle somewhere, and part of it is just entertainment. So I do love running a good game. And once I'm done, which I should be with my crunch side of this, Hybrids, the Sons of God, for Luke Stone over at Terraform Comics, I will be doing some other custom stuff in a different system, and there might be some goodies. Also, in 2021, I will be releasing the next phase of Big Stumpy Robots. It was supposed to be this year, but the hybrids get kicked in, and frankly, contract work always comes first. You know, troubleshooter's motto: if I take a job, I finish it. Because if you don't get another one. So that's coming up. I'm excited about that. We might. I basically I need to know what kind of content you guys want. If you want me to keep just kind of half pantsing around, pulling stuff out of my air, and keeping it light like this, I can. If you want a little bit more structure, just tell me what you want built, and I'll make it happen. Because I'm here to entertain and educate and edutain and entercate you guys. I'm here to make things a little more amusing in these long, dark tea times of the soul hours. And that's what I'm going to keep doing as long as I can. Now, there may come a day where I have to go, guys, I can't. You know, by then I'll probably have wires and stuff sticking out of me or whatever. But I'm going to, you know, talking motto is keep charging the enemy as long as there's life. Oh, and I do it well. Thank you, Cindy. Let's see, what else? If the world is better by October, I may actually be attending something called HoloCon. It's in Tennessee. It's a Halloween convention. I've been asked by the guys over at Stupid O'Clock to come out, and we just have to see. Let me see what else is on my menu. Oh, what you don't know. I did an early gift for my patrons. My patrons each got a custom RPG character bit of artwork because I wanted to give them back something. You can find these pieces at Nick T, www.deviantart.com/Nick T. That's my old art gallery. But I did that. I want to do something a little different for my supporters, being the mighty John Miner and Steve Clausen. I've never seen him and Odin in the same place together. Anyway, So you guys can see it too. There's a bit of an age gap on one that's a gaff I have to fix. There's nothing inappropriate, but it is there. I've been drawing for 16 years there. You'll be able to find my stuff and have a lot of fun. You can, even if you dig around, you'll find the Big Stumpy robots. You can actually print off your own foldable robots. So I use these obviously for demoing BSR and occasionally as targets for airsoft because I'm a big kid, and certainly for Nerf guns because blessed are Nerf blasters when you can't fight and you miss people, so all you can do is point things. So that's all good. And like I said, there is something I want to do, something really cool. And I'll give you a hint. Look up my micro shorts on the Nicholas Talkert channel. And like that, but more, but bigger. Oh yeah, the Picard maneuver. The real Picard maneuver. Get up. I am chuffed to bits. But so that's all coming up. I don't know. I might try to make the 18th a little holiday themed. By holiday, I usually mean Christmas. How speech impediments, just it all is crumbling down. But you like the idea of interviews. Okay. Well, of course you would, John. You're one of those interesting people that want other people to know about them. In an interview with John, put up our Pixagoko nerves. But yeah, I'm gonna do something custom for you, Steve, and something custom for you, John. And thanks for all your service. 2021, we might just start setting up a rotating interview thing if I can get a system that will work. Anyone who's seen computers around me, as this very evening showed, knows that they hate me. And that's okay. I am okay with the fact that tech and I may not be all copacetic. But we've got a lot. I want to do interviews. I want to do because I've been trying to get a couple of the other guildies to come on in that format. And because I think I would love to be able to talk to somebody like Trelena, Steph. I would love to get Steph possibly in a different persona on here, but that's because I know things you don't. John definitely, but I think that would be a great way for him to plug his wares. And Steve, as soon as certain things come together, I want to do a whole campaign for some of the stuff I've heard rumblings about that I can't tell you about, but I really want to tell you about. I did not. Oh shoot! Did I look back? I was gonna say I did not shoot myself. Okay. Steve said Nick's once shot himself in the face in a video game. It's worse than that because tech hates me. And I was playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Now, I enjoy shooters. I really do. I do enjoy shoot 'em up video games. That does not confuse with me having any talent or skill in shoot 'em up video games, especially of the Call of Duty franchise. They are especially cursed. But what he is talking about, I took aim at a guy, zoomed in. None of this quick scope crud, actually like normal scoping. Squeezed the trigger, pew! I guess I missed, nothing happened. Get up, run. It glitched so that the bullet stopped in real time and then hit me in the back of the head. And then I swore prodigiously and colorfully. Please understand that while I try to maintain my manners as a civil, upstanding, and kind gentleman, I have a capacity for oaths that may be swearing and may not in the presence of video games that is lurid, lewd, and inappropriate. This encouraged Steve to put me in situations where I, as a gamer, I would fail spectacularly and for the amusement of those around me. John asked me, did you ever get the Camerai group done? And yes, that word that does not look like it should say cam or I does. Just let it go. Yeah, I think I did, but I think I lost it in one of the moves after the entire universe imploded, John. And frankly, wow. Most of that group are dead, gone, dead to me, or me and Manda that I can recall. Wow, a little bit of harsh came out there. But no, there are a couple organizations I was formerly proud to be members of that don't exist anymore. And I think it's best to leave certain measures of that in the past because when how do I put this? There are exceptions, and some of them are here today. But the vast majority of time I have found when people reflexively call you brother and still aren't. And there are very few people in this world you can rely on. Even if they could rely on you, even if despite it all, some people, if the phone rang, I'd go. Because that's who I am. If I'm capable of doing it. But there are some people in our circles that they're saying, don't swim across oceans for people who won't step across a puddle for you. And some people who, despite very loud claims of honor and discipline and nobility, I found they're LARPing those things. They are pretending and taking them in name only. And then, well, there are some people who take those as standards of humanity and masculine duty. And it's not popular, but those lines are held. So, yeah. I did do that art a long time ago. And I still have the tree somewhere. But I know I saw it recently in one of my things as an art piece I did. And I think that was the best group photo. But, yeah. What I collect, in the past, I've had collections of people who wouldn't, another good way is wouldn't strike a candle but expect me to light myself on fire for their warmth. And the worst part I will find, and this is a little grim, so I'll have to pull out of this in a minute, but the worst part is, even though you get hurt by that, sometimes you miss them anyway. And I don't know if that makes me a fool or too kind, but probably both. But that's okay, because you know what, guys? I'm going to be philosophical. We've walked down a philosophical road. It takes effort to remain soft in a hard world. It takes a willingness to, frankly, a willingness to suffer, to help folks, knowing it's going to hurt you because it's something that not enough people are doing. I have done this. And anybody who doesn't believe me simply needs to look at an X-ray. I have many, many breaks done in the act of instructing people or defending people. And I feel them when I wake up in the morning. And sometimes when I can't move or I can't hold onto my phone because my hand is a knot or my leg stops and I fall over like a yutz, there's a temptation to look at that and regret. But then I think about the journey that brought me to where I am. And even if it's unappreciated, even it's strange to save the life of someone who hates you. I've done it. It's stranger to be hated for saving someone's life. Done that too. But you do it because it's the right thing. I won't get rich from it. I won't get famous. Have no use for wealth. And money's nice, but that's not what I'm about. But I'm trying to do the right thing because I look around. We got in the situation as a nation, as a people, because too few were doing too little to do what's right, and too many were doing too much to do what was wrong. And on top of it, the vast majority were doing nothing and letting both sides walk around. Cindy Kep says, no, it means you have a heart and valued that relationship more than the other person. Hard part of that is learning when and how to walk away. It feels like a horrible secret, but it's kind of painted on my face. A part of me carries a piece of affection for just about everyone that I've known deeply. Even those who betrayed me or bailed on me. And I appreciate them. And yes, John, Nick was here. Hi, Steph. Yeah, I remember penknifed into the tree, John. We were talking, Steph. We were talking about you guys. We actually mentioned you because one, we need to talk about getting you some really nice. I'm thinking Landlar might be good for you, some heavy armor for when we come out of this. Although I have no idea what your measurements are like. I know mine is double because I'm now a roly-poly chunky, short, furry, fat man. But Steph's doing all sorts of musical creation stuff and other stuff. Again, I'm not allowed to talk about because you guys keep doing awesome stuff, and I have to wait for you to debut it so I can, go full sing it from the heavens. But Steph, you're never too late. We'll keep it going. I have no doubt. Don't worry, I found it all, and as soon as the weather. Let's see. As soon as I find out a few things, I'll figure out how I'll go about losing some of this. But yeah, I'm so proud of you, Steph. I've seen some of your progress. Yeah. But what have you missed? Okay. Because Steph is here. It's an excuse. This is the boar spear John made me. And it is 5.5 foot, so it's almost proper spear length for you. And I'm going to probably talk about making arrangements for something very similar, because this one is mine, to be made. John's going to be making trainers, kind of like I do. Yeah, isn't that that's sexy? It's so sexy. If my hands are working sometime this weekend and I can get out to do it, I'll do a little bit of playing with it. And people who come to practices know what I mean when I say I'm going to play with it. This isn't a staff family. Once the stress is gone, I'll get better. I hope so. I really do. But you missed that. I want to cover. I brought this guy out, Steph, which I believe you've seen several times. But my Elven Thin Blade, and I brought out my favorite little airsoft gun, which I've already previously verified is both empty and secure, but so that there's no doubt. Well, maybe my hand will work. Empty, whoop, empty. But yes, my favorite airsoft gun was discussed. We've been talking about armoring. There, you need to check out. There's a lot of sales. Thank you, Steph. You just remind me of something that. Thank you, Steph. Awesome, like goblinoid hugging healing stuff is great. I could use some positive manic energy right now. Guys, one neat thing. As the Ren fairs haven't been able to open, keep an eye out on your sword retailers. If you are into lifesteal of the higher grade, I found out that pretty much the entire stock of ready-made we all know what you mean about shipping it out and playing with it. Blink, blink. Blink. Sorry, my brain shorted out for a second, and it's continuing to arc and spark there, Steve. So I'm just going to keep rolling for a moment. The last bit of news I didn't get mentioned. Sabersmith. Sabersmith makes some really, if you're into dwarven aesthetic, so Art Deco, not Art Nouveau, weapons, they are having a 25% off their entire stock of pre-made weapons. It's huge. Sabersmith, yeah. They really, and they're covering ground shipping, so it might not come here in time for Christmas, but they do have some snazzy things on the public group. If you missed the public Facebook group, if you're following the show and you're not joined on the Historical Fencing Guild's public Facebook group, you really should, because that's where you can talk to any of us and ask us questions. That's what I want, communication. Anyway, Sabersmith stuff is like, it's 25% off, and they have some really nice, pretty much ale knives. Look to be that 20 some odd inch long. There's this brace Steve showed. Just Steve likes to occasionally wave pretty things in front of me because he likes to watch me go like this. And that's not making fun of special needs people. That's making fun of me because I literally nervously short circuit. And to the person who commented, I am not insulting myself. I want to clarify that. When I say I'm a fat, furry little man, or I say I'm a gimp, or I say I twitch, I literally twitch. I don't hold that against anybody else, and I don't hold it against me, but I do admit it's there. My man, I lost his name. Tyrion from Game of Thrones. The actor's name just fell out the side of my ear and pooled on the floor. But in character, he said, I believe it was in character, figure out your weakness and wear it like an armor so that it can never be used against you. I know what I'm about, guys. I understand, if tall, dark, and sexy is one category, short, pale, and goofy is its opposite, and that is part of the realm in which I inhabit. Peter Dinklage, thank you. My brain always wants to say Dinkley because I have this like massive adoration for Velma. Gosh, what short, curvy librarian-y types? That couldn't be my thing. Steve says, I collect pretty things, so I share. Yes, you do, and they are pretty, and that's what it's about. I'm about getting this news out there. I'm not going to acquire a lot of this stuff, because to be honest, it's either outside of what I'm throwing money at, or if I'm given the option very often to go after lifesteal or trainers I can use with people, I'm more likely to collect and review trainers. I do love swords, but I am of an age and a persuasion where it is very precise. I either have very high standards or very low cost for me to be interested in something. Unless it's the case of I'm buying this because it's not for me, which happens quite a lot. John Miner got a cat that I acquired because it came through my door, and I called him and I said, John, your cat is here. And he said, I don't have a cat. And I said, yes, you do, and it's here. Come get it. His name was Porthos. He was a fine cat, great white fluffy cat. But and when he came over to visit me, he's like, that's the cat went over, sat in his lap, and I'm looking at each other because this is my cat. I said, I told you it's your cat. Things that aren't necessarily supposed to stay mine tend to gravitate to me till I can relocate them to where they go, which means I'm not quite arty in that I don't hoard things in a massive South Dakota warehouse of America's attic, realm of endless wonder. But things come, things go. People are the same way. Guys, I'm a footstool. I exist to help boost people up one little step. Most of the time, when people get boosted up to their next level, well, you don't need a footstool if you can already reach what you're reaching for. So I get forgotten. Occasionally, I'm an umbrella, handy in the rain, tossed in the closet when not needed. I'm okay with that too, because at least in the rain, I was useful. I think what's scary is just not being useful for you guys. I can forgive possibly not being entertaining as long as I was useful. It's true he does Twitch GIMP, but he wears it well. Thank you. I didn't know that human furniture. I am baffled by how you got to that statement, Steph. Unless, that is not. Wow, Steph. Like the gear shift there was delightful. Oh, footstool. Oh, geez. I'm sorry. I thought you were somehow privy to an earlier conversation about training I was having with someone. No, not that's not a kink. That's a job. When people are just shy or they're stuck in between statuses, I tend to find them and boost them to their next level. Or they fail to take the advice and plummet below, crashing and burning in a pile of their own self-pity and delusions. And then I wave at them like this. And I feel bad, but we move on because that's the job. Someone once said you can't save them all, but I gotta try. So next week, let's talk next week. We're getting down to the last 2-hour chunk of the show. Next week, it is my intention to try to keep it upbeat and maybe a little holiday themed. We'll see what I can pull out of my relative hat. You guys figure out what you want to look for Christmas, and I'll see what I can direct help you guys find it. If you are Steve, do you know how I said about I can't do Christmas because I don't want to meet God this early? You're really facilitating that, Steve. It's funny, but you're going to get me killed. She's out there, watching, waiting. There's nothing any of us can do about it. But, yeah, he's joking, of course. But he was also not talking. Yeah, anyway. That is guys, that is a conversation for another day. People ask me strange things because they know occasionally I have the answers. And occasionally I have the answers. We're getting to the 5 minutes, so one more set of plugs. Thank you to my lovely patrons. That being Stephen Augusto. I have to say his name precisely because my speech impediment turns it into Augusta every time. He's been with me since pretty much day one when I set up the Patreon, and I have had more supporters and I've lost some, and I don't begrudge them because this 2020 has nailed everybody. But the talented and wonderful Cindy Kep, and of course Brad K. Morris. You guys are literally helping me be able to afford to get replacement stands to hold my phone so I can take the messages and trainers and things. I'm grateful to both John Miner and Steve Clausen, who have provided direct support and materials and other things to me to help do this. John Miner most recently with the spear that comes apart so that I don't just do what I just did. But yeah, he made the spear. I am eternally grateful, guys. I also sales of the simple sword. Fencing should be inexpensive, simple to learn. Classical historical fencing. You don't need big tools. You don't need pressure. You don't need expensive classes to learn the basics. And that's what I'm about, guys. I want to build people up. I'm also, a lot of good stuff is going to come out of the hybrid stuff. That money, while not related to this, does help keep this going. And the big Stompy Robot stuff. Again, that's the money that I get to do stuff with that's outside of our budget, which is tight because of the needs that we have. I am not one to languish. And while I can't work safely during this pandemic right now, with the public anymore, I've had to take steps. I appreciate this. And more importantly, guys, I appreciate the folks who come out every Friday night when instead of partying with your friends or engaging in alcoholic fueled rants that some of my buddies' channels run, which are great fun, you're at least here part of the time and we get to chat. It means the world to me. This is like some of the most human interaction I get with people who I'm not related to. And you guys you're great friends, you're great supporters, you're the best fans. I feel arrogant using the term fans. Woo. But that a guy could have. And that's what the guild is. I get a lot out of helping you guys when I can. And just that level of acceptance that you embrace the bizarre, fluffy silliness, which is this curly-headed mop of a goofball Hobbit satyr thing prancing for your amusement across the interwebs. It really does make my night. Thank you for liking this. Please remember to share these videos. Please, if you aren't subscribed and you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. And other than that, folks, all I can say is thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. Hi, Julie. You actually cut me off before ending the thing because I forgot. I had about a 10-minute late start. Hi, Julie. My friend Julie, who's not, well, she's tangentially here, is recovering from a bad case of the danger virus. And guys, please be safe out there. I mean, I was going to do my outro little routine, and you caught me at the very end of it. But these are scary days. She is here with me along with little John. Oh, Jonathan! Hi, Jonathan. And say hi to the meatball, even if he's not there. Hey, Steve, it's okay. It's okay, and it's probably safer for you. I was really concerned because a lot of places around here, they're not taking things seriously. It's desperately so I wanted you to be in an area where I could see you, and we could chat, because you're just good people. And guys, so obviously outdoors, socially distancing. Steve's a Swede, essentially, or Norse. Basically, he bleeds lingonberry sauce. And, has me addicted to pancakes in Wisconsin I can't get, and the world's greatest goat cheese. But, okay, so, we're in overtime. Thank you for supporting me. At some point I'll duck, but I'm going to keep prattling for a few minutes, I guess, because it sounds like it's good. I want to shout out, I hope Ryan, one of my favorite bassists, is doing well. Oh, God, there's a place in Sister Bay. Okay, guys, we're overtime. I'm going to be off topic. If you want to stop and just have the more contained stuff, enjoy. That's the 2-hour mark. I'm in free time hangout, class dismissed mode. So, yeah. God, I lost the name of the joint. Al Johnson's. It's in Sister Bay, Wisconsin. Door County. It is beautiful. The breakfast, the line out front of the breakfast is like 45 minutes. And it is just, they have grass on the roof, and they have goats. You can look up and see their goats. They have the best smoked goat cheese I have ever had. Before getting on my thou shalt not eat things you enjoy diet lest you implode, as a bit just dabbling into being a bit of a cheese connoisseur. I wanted to go down that route because I don't smoke or drink, so there are things. Oh yes, yes we will. But the food is amazing, and it was like being transported to a place in northern. It felt like, oh god, Western Oregon. Oddly enough, it felt almost up to somewhere between Northern California and a little higher. It's a really neat place, and I didn't think I'd find some place like that this far east. It was really just mind-blowing to me. And Lake Superior and Lake Michigan at that point of the world, and the Green Bay and all that, has that depth and power that I'm used to as originally being a Pacific guy. But it's great. If you ever are in that neck of the woods, go up there and get the smoked goat cheese. There's a cheese sampler platter. It's kind of brownish. Oh my god! And then order the pancakes with lingonberry sauce and a roast beef on Swedish limpa. Dear Lord, you will cry tears of joy. And then you will be addicted to something you will never find again. But plus their meatballs are transcendental. They're Breen, okay? Babylon 5 guys, that's Breen. Swedish meatballs, like they call it is Cape. It really is. I've been up the eastern seaboard, up the western seaboard, and that is the strangest smattering of both on fresh water. Like it's mind blowing because the only thing keeping it from being the ocean is it doesn't quite smell right. But I'm getting a nod that I kind of have to call this. Parental duties are kicking in. So thank you guys for this chat. Those who know me, hit me up on Messenger. If you have content requests, get on the Facebook, the Historical Fencing Guild Facebook. I'll get everything organized in the commentary. It'll all be gravy. And until next week, if I don't get something posted sooner, thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. Great from hearing you, and we'll see you real soon.